The sun had not yet risen over the quiet village of Ijimoko. The mud huts were still dark, the trees whispering gently in the early morning breeze. In a small old house, a young woman lay on a bamboo bed, her face wet with sweat. Her name was Abunai, and she had been in labor since midnight. Her husband, Dauda, knelt beside her, holding her hand tightly and praying in a low voice. He was a simple farmer with kind eyes and a hopeful heart. He had waited many years to be a father, and he believed this baby would bring blessings into their lives. At last, before the first rooster crowed, a cry broke the silence. "It's a girl," whispered the old midwife, wrapping the small baby in a faded cloth. But the joy did not last long. Abunai's breathing slowed, her fingers turned cold. "Lord, take care of our daughter. Her name shall be Ebunoluwa," she breathed. With those last words, Abunai slipped away like smoke in the wind. Dauda cried with silent pain. His heart broke into pieces. He held his baby close, tears falling onto her tiny face.
Holding Ebun to his chest, Dauda wrapped her carefully and started the long walk to the community hospital at the edge of the village. He wanted to save his daughter and make sure nothing happened to her. But his body was tired from his long night of fear and prayer. Halfway through the bush path, his knees became weak. He sank to the ground, trying to stay awake, but darkness covered his eyes. A tall, well-dressed man stepped out from the lonely road. His name was Samir. He looked rich and respectful, like a man of honor, but behind his polished shoes and expensive perfume, he was a dangerous man who dealt in illegal businesses and child trafficking. He saw the fainted man and the crying baby wrapped in cloth. Samir smiled coldly. "A gift has come to me," he whispered. Before anybody could stop him, he picked up little Ebun and started running away. Minutes later, Dauda woke up in fear and rushed to the hospital. He arrived desperate and breathless. "My baby. Where is my baby?" he cried. Dauda continued shouting in pain. But it was too late. Samir was gone. And so began Dauda's sorrow. Samir carried Ebun into his large compound in the nearby town of Arova. His house was surrounded by tall walls. To outsiders, he looked like an honest businessman, but inside those walls, terrible things happened. Ebun was given to a harsh housemaid named Sidi, who cared very little for children. Instead of gentle hands, Ebun met loud shouts and sharp slaps. She grew without love, without birthdays, and without any idea that somewhere out there, her real father was still searching. Years passed quickly. Ebun grew into a quiet but beautiful girl, her clothes old and torn. Samir didn't send her to school. Instead, he used her to carry illegal goods hidden inside baskets of food along village routes. If she returned late, she was beaten with a cane. "Children like you must be useful," Samir would bark. "I gave you life. You belong to me." Ebun, confused and lonely, could only bow her head and obey. Back in Ijimoko village, Dauda refused to accept defeat. Every market day, he carried a wooden sign drawn with his shaky hands. "Have you seen my daughter? Her name is Ebunoluwa." People thought he had lost his mind. Some pitied him, others laughed behind his back. The old man should forget. "It has been too many years," they whispered. But Dauda never stopped. His love was stronger than his pain. Each morning he woke early, sat by the roadside with a small portrait of baby Ebun, and asked strangers if they had seen a child with her birthmark. A small dark patch on her left shoulder shaped like a tiny heart. His beard has turned white, and his once strong voice became weak. Still, he prayed. One day, he told himself, "My daughter will come home to me." As God wanted, Ebun's life began to change, slowly, with the arrival of a new boy in the neighborhood, Musa. He was the son of a poor palm wine tapper, cheerful and full of hope even though he had very little. One afternoon, Musa followed Ebun on her way back to Samir's house, crying silently. "Don't cry," he said softly. "My name is Musa. What is yours?" Ebun looked up, surprised by his kindness. It was the first true kindness she had felt in many years. "My name is Ebun," she whispered. The two became secret friends after Ebun has told him her story. Ebun smiled for the first time in her memory. But she warned Musa, "Please, don't let Samir see us. He is a very dangerous man." One rainy morning, Ebun was mopping the floor when she accidentally kicked a loose wooden plank under Samir's bed. Curious, she knelt down and brought it out. Her heart stopped. There was a small metal box hidden underneath. With shaking hands, she opened it. Inside, she found a tiny cloth with faded flowers, a piece of paper with the name, Ebeni, and a wooden bracelet carved with her name. Everything around her seemed to freeze. Ebeni, who is Ebeni? She whispered. Her mind began to race. Was Samir really her father? Who was Ebeni? Why did this bracelet carry her name together with someone else's? She hugged the bracelet to her chest and ran out to find Musa. In tears, she told him everything she had discovered. Musa listened carefully. Then he said words that would change her destiny. I have heard stories of a man in Ijimoko village who never stopped looking for his missing child. His name is Pa Dauda. Ebun, I think he might be your real father. Ebun's breath left her body for a moment. Hope and fear mixed inside her heart. Then I must find him, she said, even if it costs me my life. That night, when the compound was quiet and Samir was snoring heavily in his room, Ebun packed a small bag with only the most important things, the mysterious cloth, the bracelet, and the paper with the names. Musa waited for her by the back fence with a lantern and a loaf of bread. The rain had made the ground soft, and their feet sank into the mud as they hurried through the bushy path. As they disappeared into the darkness, Samir's guard dog suddenly began to bark. The children ran faster, breathing hard, hearts pounding. They did not stop until the roofs of Ijimoko village appeared in front of them, glowing faintly under the moon. Ijimoko had changed over the years, but one thing remained the same, an old man whom children called the madman of the village. He sat every day under the big iroko tree, holding a faded picture and asking people the same question. Have you seen my daughter, Ebunoluwa? His voice was weak, but his eyes burned with hope. Many villagers avoided him now, believing he would die in sorrow. Ebun and Musa arrived at the edge of the village just before sunrise. They asked a farmer, where can we find Pa Dauda? The farmer looked at Ebun, shocked. He is up ahead. Are you looking for him too? He asked quietly. Ebun's legs felt heavy as they walked toward the iroko tree. There, sitting with his back bent and his clothes worn out, was Pa Dauda. Ebun hid behind a path fence, suddenly frightened. What if he did not remember? What if he rejected her? Musa gave her a gentle push. Ebun stepped forward. Dauda did not see her at first. His eyes were fixed on the road as if expecting a miracle. Ebun's voice came out as a whisper.
Sir, please, were you once looking for a child named Ebun?
Dauda blinked, slowly turning his head. His eyes settled on the cloth in her hand, the same cloth he had wrapped around his baby many years ago. The bracelet slipped from Ebun's fingers and rolled towards him. He picked it up with trembling hands and read the carved words, Ebunoluwa. His mouth opened, but no words came. Tears began to run down his cheeks like a broken stream. Ebun fell to her knees.
Papa, is it you?
Pa Dauda let out a cry that was between joy and pain. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly as if he would never let her go again.
My daughter, my gift from God, you have returned to me.
The villagers gathered around in shock as father and daughter wept in each other's arms. News of Ebun's return spread quickly. The village chief called for a meeting. Musa bravely stepped forward and told the entire village about Samir's evil works. He used Ebun as a slave and smuggler. He is not her father, Musa said. Pa Dauda nodded with fire in his eyes.
He will not hurt another child again.
The youth leader, the hunters, and the local police joined forces. They surrounded Samir's compound early in the morning. Samir tried to escape through a back window but was caught with bags of illegal items. Handcuffed and disgraced, he was taken away to face the law. The villagers of Ijimoko danced with joy. Ebun moved back into her father's little mud house. It was small and old, but filled with warmth and love. Pa Dauda sold some of his farmland so that Ebun could start learning in the village school, even though she was older than the other pupils. She sat in class beside Musa and listened carefully to every lesson. Her teachers were impressed by how hard she worked. Whatever I become, she told Musa, I will make my father proud. Years passed again, but this time filled with joy, not sorrow. Ebun finished primary school quickly. She moved on to secondary school with Musa, who stood by her like a brother. On her graduation day, Ebun wore a white dress and carried a bouquet of flowers. Pa Dauda, dressed in his best old agbada, sat in the front row. When Ebun collected her certificate, the entire village stood and cheered.
To my father, thank you for waiting. Thank you for believing. Thank you for loving me.
Pa Dauda cried openly, no longer the madman of the village, but the proudest father in the world. Ebun went on to become a schoolteacher, opening a small classroom in Ijimoko for children who could not afford education, especially girls. She named it, Abeni Learning Home, in honor of the mother she never met. Musa became a community health worker, and he and Ebun remained close friends for life. Samir remained in prison for many years. His name was wiped from the land. But in Ijimoko, a signboard stood proudly by the road. Welcome to Ijimoko, home of Ebunoluwa, daughter of destiny. And so, after many years of tears, loss, and struggle, Ebun's life finally became what her name meant. Ebunoluwa, God's gift.